Welcome to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast, the show that delves into the reasons we love to choose, wrap, and share gifts with each other. Hi, I'm your host, Eve Kale, founder of Gift Wrapped by Eve, and I'm on a mission to help you experience the joy of gift giving while also considering the planet. Each episode, I'll be sharing ideas or interviewing guests who will help inspire your choice of gifts and how you present them. Whether that's for your own gifts or products you create or sell in your small business, will help you consider how to make small changes that can help your gifting be a little greener. Welcome to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast, Ingrid. I am absolutely delighted that you've agreed to come and talk with me today. And I just know that our listeners are going to be really interested to hear what you've got to talk with us about today. Could you introduce yourself and explain how, what you do and how we sort of came to meet, as it were?
Of course. Well, first of all, Eve, thank you so much for inviting me onto your show. It's an absolute pleasure. Having a podcast ourselves, we know, how wonderful it is to have guests on the show. So I'm hoping we can have a great conversation today. And my name is Ingrid Jansen. I am one half of the Declutter Hub together with my partner, Leslie Spellman. And we are both professional organizers, and we still each work one-to-one with clients in homes, but together we set up the Declutter Hub back in 2018. The idea was, let's help more people with decluttering and organizing. Let's write a course so they can help themselves, because a lot of people can't afford to have actually a professional organizer come into their homes, or they're too embarrassed to have somebody come in and see the state of their house. So
Yeah.
we thought, oh, let's do something about that, because we got requests from all over the UK. Can you come and help me in my house?
Yeah.
And Leslie being in Manchester, I'm in London, we were like, okay, we need to do something online. And this course idea kind of very quickly developed into, you know what, we need to offer more. And that's why we set up the membership and started a podcast, started a Facebook group, and beyond any expectation, it's just kind of snowballed into something huge that we did not envisage, well, in the beginning and in the day at all. But we knew that we want to offer people more than just a course, because we know from experience that people who have clutter um, really want to have the opportunity to ask questions, and they want to be able to be motivated and supported, and giving a course alone just wasn't enough. And that's why we set up the membership. But we also still wanted to offer free advice, so that's why we started the podcast, and it kind of all went from there. And then we wrote a book, and then we got involved with the Clean and Tidy Home Show. And that's where our paths cross, Eve,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
this year we're both at Home Life and You, and we did a birthday podcast, and as a bit of a kind of a way to kind of celebrate. And we said wow, there's so many great speakers at Home Life and You, and great people who have stalls and everything. Why don't we see if we can do a collaboration? And you kindly did a lovely little snippet of information for our podcast, and I was like, wow, we are so connected in what we do. Let's chat further. And then you invited me, so here I am.
I'm so honoured that you wanted to come and speak with me, because obviously after I discovered your podcast through being a contributor, I went and had a little look at what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I found this episode that you'd recorded recently, which I thought was just exactly the kind of subject that I have been thinking about and talking about. And that is the subject of really shopping and giving intentionally,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the big one, Christmas. And I had a listen to the episode, and I thought, wow, there are just so many things in here that I know my listeners would find really useful for their own gifting, but also when they think about the products that they're promoting for Christmas
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. Tell me more about what your how you sort of approach gifting with your clients, because decluttering and organizing your home, it's just you get to this maybe I don't think you ever really reach the end, do you? But you kind
No.
of once you've done some of it and you've started to switch your mindset, then gifting can sometimes, it can be it can be a challenge, can't it? So tell me more about.
Excellent question. And there's a lot wrapped up with this, Eve. So if I go onto a tangent, pull me back at some point because there's a lot to say here. So what we see when we either work with clients in homes or with the members in our membership, they have lots of stuff and lots of clutter. So that's where it starts. And what we see a lot first is that we need to work on the clutter that's currently in the home and hopefully create more space, let some of the clutter go. Well, there's lots of techniques on how to do that. And we've loads, of course, we have hundreds of hours of videos of advice on how to do that. But what we see at some point is that the volume slowly but surely going down. Of course, then the clutter leaving the house is very important. So we talk a lot about the exit plan. And then once those mindset changes are starting to happen and when those daily resets fall into place, or did you do a little bit maintenance every day instead of letting it all pile up and then the weekend starting with the backlog? Once all of that starts to slowly but surely fall in place, then we see that people are thinking, right, but where's all this stuff coming from? How is this coming into my house? Right?
Yeah.
And then they start to look at shopping for themselves, shopping for their family members, the freebies they pick up without even thinking about it, all of those things. And the hand-me-downs they get from other people and the guilt around all of that. And then a next step after that is, hold on a minute, but I'm doing the same to other people when I gift stuff. So, for example, one of our members shared with me while she was in a membership about 6 or 7 months. She said, "You know what, Ingrid? My friend collects, I think, like something with owls on it. I think it was owls." And she said, and then I go on holiday or a weekend away and I spot something with an owl, whether it's pajamas, a cushion, an ornament, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, my friend loves owls. And I buy it for her and then I give it to her. And she's like, but now I'm on my own decluttering journey. I'm like, wow, I'm actually cluttering up other people's lives with these well-intended gifts.
Yeah.
So it's so you, when you have a house full of stuff, you this is not the first thing you think of.
Mm.
You have you it normally works in the order in which I've described, and at some point you're gonna think about what I do ourselves, and a step in between is, and this is what I've done a lot with clients, is that they love a lot of people with clutter also love gift giving, which is like really nice, right? They always think about others. When they're out, they think, oh, my friend would love that, or my sister, or my mom, or this is nice for so and so, or I know it's only June and it's not going to be, this holiday season until 7 months, but I'm seeing something nice. And then all these things get scattered around the house. So in the beginning, what I first do out with clients as well, I set up a present cupboard.
Mhm.
So I go, right, instead of having this stuff everywhere and then you completely forgetting what you have, let's find a place somewhere
Yeah.
where we can put all of these things together. And then also then around October, November time, let's revisit this place and
Mhm.
see what we have before we start shopping for the holiday season. And let's see what is still a good gift. Then, when I've worked with them a little bit longer, or when they've been in the membership a bit longer, then they start to question the gift cupboard. Like, why do I always feel the need to buy gifts while it's not even that time of year again? While I don't even know if we're still doing gift, why I don't even. And then the gift cupboard
Yeah.
gets first downsized.
Mhm.
And then later, it also often gets decluttered, knowing because people suddenly start to realize, but I can basically lay my hands on anything 24/7 by ordering it online,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And I don't need to have a whole cupboard, maybe one box or one shelf where if I'm out and about and I see something really beautiful handmade, I can pick it up. But
Yeah.
I don't need to be ordering already weeks or sometimes months in advance
Yeah.
and keep this whole. So there's like I said, there's a lot
There's so
involved.
much in there,
I
isn't there?
know, I know, I know.
And I think it's really interesting because when I talk about gifts and wrapping, people share with me how they shop, particularly for Christmas.
Yeah.
And there are so many different ways of doing it, but lots of people oh, I'm a shop all year person. I start really early, and it's really interesting because I think what I picked up on first of all that you talked about is being well intentioned,
Hmm.
and it's definitely from a place of being well intentioned that
Yeah.
you see something, you think of that person, you want to put it away.
Yeah.
Um, but it can definitely lead to you forgetting about things,
Yeah.
or maybe feeling like you bought the wrong thing and you should buy something else.
Yeah.
Having been on my own decluttering journey myself, um, I'm quite a late shopper for Christmas, which I think
Hmm.
surprises people often because obviously I'm talking about Christmas in the business all year round. But actually, when it comes to shopping, I don't tend to shop very early for this very reason now that I
Hmm.
really, really want to think carefully about what I'm buying.
Hmm.
It's also because my children's birthdays are in the autumn, so I do their birthdays first,
Yeah.
and only then can we think about Christmas. From a practical point of view, you know, of actually how to do it all, and physically do it all, but also just because, especially when they were little, it was working out what on earth they needed next after having birthdays so close to Christmas. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's just so many layers, aren't there?
I think a lot of people think that because we are professional organizers, we don't like shopping. But
Mhm.
I think that's not necessarily the case. Leslie is a far better shopper and gift giver than I am. I'm holding my hands up to that immediately. She's
Yeah.
much better at it than I am. But of course, we realize that people do want to they have to shop. There's things you have to shop to for daily life, your groceries and all of that. There
Mm,
are things you need for your house if you want to change things around. But I think what's really important for us is we go, okay, make it intentional, make it mindful. Do you
mm,
really have to again change the curtains and the pillows and the rug and the vases and have it all matching? Is it necessary to have a tree in a different Christmas bubble color every year?
mm,
Have you got the space for all this stuff to store and to keep?
mm,
Or are you having a put through of items?
mm,
And can you shop a little bit more intentionally and avoid that last minute panic and then randomly picking up stuff that in the end costs a lot of money?
mhm,
And can you just think a little bit in ahead as well? And I think the message that we've really tried to bring home over the last 8 years, and as long as we've been doing the podcast as well, is to go, can you just, instead of doing all gifts, can you maybe break it up into money and experiences and gifts, and not all the whole budget blown on gifts alone? Because a lot of people struggle with space. A lot of people struggle with that. They get an influx of, especially for the children,
yeah,
from five different sides, and the mom and dad are like, oh my word, where am I going to put all this stuff?
yeah,
So I really try to have these conversations with people, like, think about that. Is all this gifting still necessary, or can you go, right, we need to have a family conversation first within our own family? How do we feel about gifting? What's important for us? Do we still need to blow such a big budget on it? Why are we buying when we're struggling with finance and when money is tight,
mm,
for so many families? Why are we spending so much money on all these gifts for other people that half the time we don't even know if they like it and use it and love it and appreciate it? And why are we putting
yeah,
ourselves in debt until well into the next year to pay for all of this?
yeah,
So I think you need to have first a conversation with in your own family, with your partner, with your husband, with your wife, with your kids, and go, right, how do we see this? And then go, are we brave enough to have these conversations within our wider family, with our
Yeah.
parents, with our in-laws, with our sister, our brothers, and kind of go, guys, what are we doing here?
Mm.
All this shopping is really, we have been marketed to buy things for 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
And we are now have to unravel it, try and unravel it while we'll be being bombarded with marketing messages left, right, and center. Buy this and you are younger, and buy that and you look prettier, and buy this to be on top of your thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on a minute, just stop.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? And can we swap some of this stuff into experiences?
Yeah.
Because in the end, it's spending time with the people that you really like spending time with that makes the difference.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I definitely resonate with that. And I'm a big experience giver myself, and well, I love receiving them too. And it's something I've talked about on the show quite a bit because like having been through um the children receiving lots of really well-intentioned gifts over the years, I then spent a good couple of years decluttering
Yeah.
and passing them on. But I think I think it's the mindset that one of my blocks, I guess, when I was decluttering, is when something's been given as a gift, is how to let it go.
Yeah.
And I think it's really and then even talking to my children who are now older about the decisions when we're decluttering things.
Yeah.
It's how would you what tips would you give to people who find it difficult to let go of things that they've received as gifts?
Yeah, that is a really, and we see that a lot. This is
Mm,
not uncommon at all. A lot of people struggle with, but my friend gave this to me and I have to keep it. But it was my mom's, or, and it's not only gifts, it's also things from legacies or when people pass away and stuff ends up in your
mm,
house and all that. There's massive amount of guilt around those kinds of items. And especially with gift giving, I think it's really important that to always think about that the gift was given with the intention and not for as a gift and for you to enjoy it.
mm,
It was not given with that it should be like a sword hanging around you, dangling above your neck,
mm,
cluttering up your house and you being unhappy in your house, right? And you
yeah.
not and it holding you back from enjoying your house to the
Mm,
fullest. And I think a gift is always given with the best well-meaning intentions that they think you love it. But I think the gift giver also knows, and we do that as well. When we gift to something to somebody, we don't expect to see them wear it, use it, love it. We're
mm.
not gonna ask next time, well, have not seen you wearing that scarf yet that I gave you.
Most
We
people wouldn't, I guess.
mostly,
No.
and of course, there's the exceptions that prove the rule.
Yeah.
There are people who are like that, and you know when they're the ones that are in your life and that they will follow up and they will,
Mhm.
then it gets a lot trickier. But most of us know that a
Yeah.
gift is given and it then either gets used, it gets loved, it gets consumed, or it gets passed on to somebody else.
Yeah.
But keeping it in your house, cluttering up your cupboards, is the worst place for it because then nobody can enjoy it.
Yes.
Nobody can get any life or use out of it, or it gets expired. And that's what we want to prevent.
Mm.
So you have to be honest with yourself. And it doesn't mean that the day after Christmas, you have to go, right, decluttering everything. You can't just give it, a couple of weeks and stuff. But even with the consumables,
Yeah.
if it's something that you don't like eating, give it away on an app like Olio. There are
Yeah.
so many people who don't have the funds to buy, I don't know, cranberry biscuits or something or whatever, and
Mm.
might go, you know what, I love that. Or because if it stays in your cupboards and it expires, then it's no good use to anybody. So
Yeah.
I really, really want to hammer that home because, and and of course we all hope that the gift we give is the right thing. But we all have different tastes, different styles, different things we enjoy and use and love. And that's part of life, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think that is it's sitting with that slightly getting used to that slightly
Yeah,
uncomfortable feeling,
yeah,
making it feel more comfortable.
yeah,
And I love the Olio app. That is my favorite app. I have literally given away thousands of things on
yeah,
there. And I'm not just talking food. I mean, I've given away so many things on there
yeah.
and made so many people happy.
I know, I know.
It's so great.
It is so great. Leslie and I laugh sometimes. We're like, we should be on commission for Olio
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
like talk about it all the time.
yeah.
Because indeed, it started as a food waste app, to prevent food. Like, I'm going away this weekend. I've got a pint of milk in my fridge that's going to be expired while I'm away. That's how it started. But now it's like a great app for loads of other stuff as well. And it's all these things that you can't really bring to a charity shop. I
Hmm.
mean, charity shops love clothes and books and games and toys and jewelry and bags and purses, but like a lunchbox that was used 4 times, but now your kid's like, I don't do I don't know, Dora the Explorer anymore, right?
Mm,
That's still, but that's like perfect for like Olio.
yeah.
I've given away so much on Olio. It's like incredible. It's great.
It is great, it is great, and people are always so grateful for the
Mm,
things, and
yeah.
then it really helped with me with so one of my another of my blocks was also about being eco-conscious. I really don't like feeling like I'm throwing something away
Yeah.
if I don't need to, and so being able to give things away that weren't suitable for a charity shop, but feel like they were going to, good use was just
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
especially for gifts. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
that's a great tip, definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we talked about experiences being something that you can give as an alternative to physical items.
Yeah.
What are your favorite experiences to gift and also receive? Mm,
Oh my gosh, there's so many ways that you can go with this, right? You can actually, do things that don't cost anything. It can be for your children like a jar with 5 tickets in it, like uh, go to the park with mommy or daddy, or uh, maybe if you always shop without the kids, like a grocery shop, maybe you can go on a grocery shopping trip with me. It doesn't have to, like, when the kids are small and they're like
yeah,
excited to go with you. It can be, let's go swimming in the local swimming pool. It can be a cinema. I mean, not cheap anymore these days. Just some cinema tickets can be great. It can also be maybe a subscription to like one of those craft packages that get sent home,
yeah,
that you can craft them yourself, or a subscription to a magazine. So I bought my kids like the National Geographic magazine for a
mm,
subscription for their Christmas one year because they love that information. The Newsweek Junior subscription, for example. It can be, wow, I would love to learn, I don't know, I would love like dancing or I don't know, karate or something. It doesn't have to always be something in stuff. It can be a sport, a skill. It can be, why don't we, instead of getting all each other presents, why don't we do a day at the zoo?
yeah,
Or let's go for a drive and have an ice cream at the beach. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Let's just one Sunday, somebody can go, I still have a ticket for a day at the beach. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a hot day. It can be a
yeah,
stormy day when fish and chips and ice cream.
mm,
You know what I mean? So I think it's really think outside of the box a little bit. Kids just love spending time with family,
mm,
and when you look at older people, uh, if maybe taking them out for an afternoon tea somewhere, or going for a little walk around the shops and have a little, I don't know, tea and cake in Marks and Spencer. Doesn't
yeah,
It doesn't matter. It's spending time. It's doing a board game together, or playing some cards together, or taking them out on a nice drive and visit a local national trust, getting English Heritage or National Trust cards for the family for the year, so you can do some nice days out. So many options. Honestly, just ask. chat GPT or ask
Yeah.
Grok or ask your computer and say, can you give me some ideas for experiences instead
Yeah.
of gifts?
Mm.
I, for example, for my Leslie and I wrote a book, and my friends gave me a lovely voucher to go. I think it was, oh no, one of our other friends was 50, and we gave her a wine tasting.
Lovely.
Apparently there's a vineyard in Kent. Who knew? And
Mm.
we took her, and the three of us, instead of sending her, the three of us went together,
Yeah.
and we did a little wine tasting. And we went for lunch, and we had the most brilliant afternoon.
Yeah.
And it combined that birthday with, just a fun
Mm.
outing. That, you can go gin tasting, cocktail making. You can learn
Yeah.
how to cook. I mean, the opportunities are endless. I a couple of years ago for my husband bought a James Bond experience tour with like secret keys. He had to go to like locations and go, I'm here to, it's Money Penny here. And they're like, we've been waiting for you. And then you would get like a suitcase with clues and stuff. It was brilliant, honestly.
An escape room sort of treasure hunt, but yeah, in different locations. That sounds
Yes,
amazing.
In London, like in location,
Wow.
you get clues every it hours. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and then you got instructions on the WhatsApp, and then you had to go here and spot the thing, and then you would have to look for the secret key in the window, and then you would go in, and then would be another. It was honestly, it was brilliant.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah,
there's just so many options, aren't there? There's, giving an experience as one person directly, spending time
yeah,
together, creating your own version of that. There's just so
yeah,
many options.
yeah,
And well, lots of the people listening to this podcast do have their own businesses, and
yeah,
they're sort of they've got products that
yeah,
they do want to sell as part of their business.
yeah,
So I think it's really interesting hearing, how you might go about promoting your product to make sure that it sort of fits this bill, because we're all about being greener on this podcast and being
yeah,
mindful. So I'm
yeah,
not so I'm conscious that I want to help people
yeah,
with their businesses, but being
yeah,
mindful that they're not contributing to this. But there
yeah.
are lots of options there, aren't there?
Yeah, I think so. And I think what's really important as a small business, I think what you probably, what you can maybe make a feature is to go, actually, we have items in different price categories, right? So
Yeah,
maybe that's really helpful on your page and go, okay, if you're looking for something small, have a look around these products. And if you've got a budget between this pricing, have a look here. I think personalization is super important, right? Because
yeah,
when you're just that little card, it doesn't have to be another free thing in there, but just a little card saying, thank you so much for buying from me. I'm a small business. This is all handmade.
hmm,
No need to put an extra thing in. That's
yeah,
then possibly clutter, unless it's maybe usable or something. And maybe also things like we're working really hard here to think about the environment. So our packaging is all recyclable, and so is the stuff that fills up the box. Or, I think you
yeah,
can do so many things to make people feel, okay, this is fantastic, because people will always want to buy gifts. But I think people are more mindful about the environment, are more mindful about budget. And I think they do still love helping small businesses.
mm,
Although it's so tempting to go to the big ones all the time, the big shops and the big chains and but there's so many people who do still appreciate the small business. And I think it's really important to really, especially in your local area, if you are starting out, to make sure that you post on your local Facebook groups and things like that. And yeah, really kind of promote that visit, so you're visible, because I think it's really, we as small business owners, we have to help each other. It's
yeah,
really important. And I think when you can have, somebody that has a good network, and then see, can you maybe do some packages of, if you buy two or three, you know, you have to be really kind of think wide about it, because in the end, we're all small businesses. We have to keep the lights on, right? So we have to sell stuff. It's
yeah,
just the way it
yeah.
is, but it's the way you go about it.
Well, I think what we're saying is really that actually being small and being able to be uh, offer that personalized services,
Yeah,
it's a benefit,
yeah,
and you're going to be able to actually help people
yeah,
make these really conscious decisions about what they're buying,
yeah,
especially if people are looking for something that is,
yeah.
not necessarily supporting big companies. There's nothing wrong with the big
No,
boys. There, I shop with them too. But when it comes to gifting, it's really nice to be able to choose something that supporting small. So
yeah,
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 definitely,
for sure, absolutely.
yeah. So I have to ask you, Ingrid, whether because we do talk about wrapping a lot as well as gifting. Do
Yeah.
you enjoy wrapping gifts?
Oh my gosh. So I've been thinking about this a lot, right? And actually, I always say yeah, I'm not a great gift giver, which I think on the one hand is true. Because I think deep down I'm quite frugal. Maybe it's because I'm Dutch. I don't know. So I always think about, the money that I spend. I'd rather spend time with people. I would rather go out for a meal than buy a gift.
Yeah,
But so I was thinking maybe I'm a bad gift giver, but then I thought, but hold on a minute. I was always the mom who would do the present for the class, right? I would like send a letter to all of the moms and go, hi, shall we get something for the teacher for Christmas and for the end of year? And I would be the one collecting the money and I would then but I would
yeah.
always get a voucher
Okay.
and then something else. And like my daughter is in a music school, and they do an amazing music tour every July. And for the last couple of years I've been doing a gift basket for the whole team, and everybody's always like, wow, you do such a good job. So on the one hand I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'm not that good. On the other, I am good, but
Sounds
I
good to
think
me.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I like organizing it. I
Okay.
like organizing it. So wrapping is, I think I try and get the right gift. I really try to think about it. Um, but wrapping for me, I think I'm really glad when I can buy like a nice gift bag with
Mhm.
with the tissue paper. Although I am good at wrapping, but it's not super important for me. But I do want it to, it's not like sticky tape here, there, and everywhere. I do want it to look like nice. And
Yeah.
I think, changed the wrapping paper that I've bought over the years to make it more eco-friendly and not
Yeah.
buy the shiny stuff. But on the other hand, I'm like, we need to also finish that up. First of all, we spent the money on it. And secondly, if we now throw it away, it's the same thing. I might as well use it up, but be more conscious with the new wrapping I buy. So I think it's a bit
Yeah.
both ways, but I do try to, have a tag that I can recycle and not just use 12 sticky tapes to
Yeah.
tape it, but just be neat so I can only use three, you know what I mean? So I try to do like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, yeah, I'm always really encouraging people to use up what they already have,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to Christmas. I'm sure you've covered this in lots of the things that you tips and ideas you share. I always encourage people to check, in the loft
yeah,
or wherever you keep your Christmas decorations, what did you put up there last year to wrap with before you then go when you're Christmas shopping, you're out there and you're thinking, well, that one looks really nice, and of course you're attracted to the things that look really pretty, but check what you've already got first or
yeah.
what you can reuse, repurpose. Um,
Definitely. We
yeah,
talk about that a lot actually, and not only with wrapping paper, but also with cards,
yeah,
with toiletries, with
yeah,
food. I mean, there's loads of categories that you're like, please use it up. Don't leave a tiny bit of shampoo in that shampoo bottle, but finish the bottle and then recycle it and then start a new one.
yeah,
So really, because that's where all the money, that's where your money leaks are, right?
yeah,
And same with wrapping paper. Indeed, before, now we're now, in October, we have time. Uh, it's October, beginning of November. There's time. So indeed, don't already now start to go into the shops and pick up wrapping paper, cards, clothes for Christmas, all of those things. First, go, hold on a minute. I'm gonna this weekend first look at what I have. What outfits have I got from last year? What is still looks good? Can I wear that again? Or do I possibly need to
mm,
change it up and buy something new? What wrapping paper? Oh, I'm short on tags. That's the one thing I need. Or no, actually, I've only got a little bit of wrapping paper left, but plenty of tags, mental note here, or maybe make a list in your phone. Do not buy wrapping paper. But because
Yeah.
we find people who have honestly 25 rolls of, they will have so much,
Yeah.
but forget it because it's in a cupboard somewhere hidden, or it's in a loft or a basement or an attic somewhere, or in a under the eaves storage cupboard. You know what I mean? So we have to dig that out first, use up what we have, save some money that way, and then go, okay, Christmas cards, the same thing. You know, when you've got cards, greetings cards, have two different stashes. One is for Christmas and kind of the holiday season. The other box or container is for normal greetings cards, and then divide them. This is birthdays. This is age birthdays. This is for thank yous. This is so you can first look. Hold on a minute. Let me look if I've got something and go, oh no, don't have that. I need to now put it on
Yeah.
the shopping
Yeah.
list.
Yeah. It's this really fine line between being prepared, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then being over prepared and having clutter. And it's just that in between. So I don't know, is there a term, underbuyers and overbuyers? I don't know if that is actually a thing or not, but I tend to be an underbuyer
Yeah.
now, because so I will just literally had a conversation with my husband this morning. We're out of butter. And I said, no, no, we're not out of butter. You're using it. You're using the last bit.
Yeah.
So, and that, that's the same for other things. And I think it's about, using up, but like not being so near that you run
Yeah.
out, isn't it?
I think what you see there a lot, Eve, is some people, especially the older generations, they're used to like stock for like the
Yeah,
winter. They've got like
yeah,
12 tins of soup and 12 tins of beans. And it's like, oh my word, and then it gets out, even that stuff goes out of date at some point. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And we are now in a 24/7 economy. We've got a local Tesco's that's open till 11 o'clock at night from 6 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
So we don't need to have the unless of course you're in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
and it takes you a half an hour to drive to the shops. That's different. Then you have probably a larder with, one or two spares. But most people, especially the people who live in the bigger cities,
Mhm.
there is a shop around the corner, like a 1 minute walk normally. So let's look at that and let's think about that. And you don't need to have 5 shampoos anymore. One in spare is plenty, but that's a whole different thing. That starts to come into action when people start to declutter.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when all of those, wow, why have I got, honestly, 12 kitchen rolls when I'm struggling with space? Why is there 12 kitchen rolls on the top of my fridge?
yeah.
That bulk buying is so, and that's actually we use that term all the time, bulk buying. You
Mm.
know, when something's on sale, let's get three. you know, now, hold on a minute, but will it last that long? Have
Yeah,
you not, can you afford the space to store the three, or can you just buy one? Because the product will absolutely go on sale again.
yeah,
And having an overview of our inventory, whether that's food, whether that's toiletries, which are super expensive, whether it's gifts, wrapping, greetings cards, all of those things, you know, you don't need to have so much of everything.
yeah, yeah. There's just so much advice in there. That's I'm sure people are going to have found this conversation just so useful.
Thank
Um,
you.
where can they find more about what you do and what you how they could get more help from you?
Of course, thank you. Well, everything you need is declutterhub.com. You can find out about our book, podcast, membership. We're on socials. We are on at Declutter Hub on Instagram. We have an amazing Facebook group called the Declutter Hub Community. We're a Facebook page. You can find us on YouTube. And of course, if you want to listen to the podcast, you can do that via declutterhub.com, or you just go to Spotify or your Apple podcast or your podcast player and you search for the Declutter Hub podcast and you will find it there. So Yeah, there's loads of information.
Loads of resources there, and I will put links to those in the show notes, and I will particularly get people to go and have a little listen to that episode you did on mindful giving, because there were even more ideas in there
Yeah.
about experiences, which I think were really, really, really inspired me. And I love an experience gift. So yeah. Thank you so much for giving your time, and I know that everybody will have really found this episode super interesting. So thank you so much, Ingrid.
Thanks so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast. For free resources, head to giftwrappedbyeve.com/freebies and follow Eve on socials at giftwrappedbyeve on Instagram and Facebook.